This is such a crazy movie, so action-packed, really funny. You and Virginia are so good in this. Can you tell me the story of how you two first met? I think it's pretty funny.
So when I was in college at NYU, my best friend threw a Halloween party, and he said, we are getting a keg, and you should try your first keg stand. And when I went over there to do that, who was on the keg doing her first keg stand but Virginia Gardner? So we met very long ago, far longer than we worked together. And we both met doing our first keg stands, our first and last keg stands. We both decided that it was not for us.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, but drinking carbonated liquid upside down is not my vibe.
Right, first and last for a reason.
Yeah, I don't think a human body's meant to do that. But we've been great friends ever since, and it's been lovely to work with her.
That's great. What would you say was the wildest scene to film?
I'm privy to liking the action scenes. The beach fight scene to me was really fun. That was a big day, and we had about 10 people I had to fight in the scene. But it's the closest I get to choreographed dancing. I'm not a dancer whatsoever, but I do find this very fun. So that was my favorite one to shoot.
I love it, I love it. So we saw a lot more of you in this film than we have before. Maybe your back end. Did that take any convincing?
No, it's funny because, well, this is a crazy story. So
Please do tell.
I don't know how much of this I can tell. But apparently that's industry standard now, is to include a butt double in anything you do. That's just like written in the thing. So when I got to set, they were like, in the first one, they were like, hey, so this scene has your butt in it. Do you want to use this guy? I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, yeah, so you have a butt double in your contract. And I was like, well, like, what's it look like? You know, because like, it's like, is it going to be like my butt? I'm not sure that's the butt you want to see on camera. And this guy was packing heat, dude. He had a donkey on him. And apparently at that point they were like, well, you know, here's a list of butts you can choose if you're interested. And I was like, dude, I don't know what to choose. Like, what? I don't know which butt is good as a butt. And so Ginny actually helped. I was like, Ginny, what's a butt that like a chick would like to see on camera?
Oh my God.
And she chose that butt, and it was honestly, it was a good butt.
You really dived back into acting recently. You took a few years off. When did you know that you were ready to kind of come back?
There was definitely a moment where I wanted to discover whether or not I liked it, or whether or not it was something that I had just been doing for so long. So I went to college, and I took a lot of different electives and courses, and I loved all that. But what kind of came into my mind is that I realized all the stuff that I was kind of focusing on doing was also entertainment-based. It was kind of entertainment. And then I came to the conclusion when I was like 21, 22, that I do actually love doing it, and I do love entertaining, but I think I'd want to have a little bit more agency over what I do. And so now I live very much on set and good experiences, and I've been enjoying myself ever since. The end.
I love the story. It's a full circle moment,
yeah.
You know? Realize that you loved it after all.
Yeah.
And you're a child star success story, really.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back, what do you think was the key to staying on the straight and narrow?
I was just very lucky to have my brother there with me, because I find that if I was a kid experiencing all of that by myself, and I didn't have like the sounding board that was my brother to bounce off of and be like, was that weird? Yeah, that was weird. Or was that cool? Yeah, that was cool. I think it would have been a lot tougher time for me to place myself in there. So I definitely think being a twin helped with that. As well as, like, my father is so don't give a shit about the industry. He's like an auto body mechanic from Woodland Hills. Like, he could not care less about any of that. And so that was very nice and a grounding effort on his behalf. So I think all those reasons combined, as well as just being extremely cool and lovable.
How would you describe your relationship with Cole now?
Describe it pretty much the same way. I mean, he went to Vancouver and filmed Riverdale for a long time, right? But now Riverdale's done, so he's back in LA, and so we're hanging out a lot more often, which is nice again.
Right.
But yeah, kind of the same as it's always been. I mean, it really hasn't changed much, which is good. I'd like it to be that way. But then again, we were also never really like super twinny twins, you know, the way like people dress up in the same outfits and shit. That was always weird. That's scary. Like the Shining twins. You're like, don't do that. You're allowed to like not be weird and be twins too.
Like creepy twins. You're not creepy twins.
Any twin who's like, what are you wearing today? I'm gonna wear the same thing. You're weird. Don't do that.
You heard it here.
You're making a bad name for us, dude.
So you guys never had twin telepathy or anything like that?
No, but it's like in the same way as like if you know someone really, really well and you look at them from across the room while something happening, you're like, you know what they're thinking.
Right.
So that's I think the twin telepathy thing. But I'd never be like, oh, he's gonna wear the corduroy jeans today. Like that's not gonna be my vibe.
Right, you guys are too cool for that. Cole said recently when reflecting on Sweet Life that he doesn't remember much. What about you? Do you remember those days filming Sweet Life?
Well, I think I think what's a better way to frame it is like I don't remember much of the episodes because like the episodes are actually just what you're doing. It's like think of it this way: when you're that little and you're told to go to school, it'd be like, how much of your homework do you remember? It's like, dude, I don't remember my homework. I remember being at school. That's what I remember. I remember the experiences on set, all of that. But if you were like, do you remember this episode? I don't think I could. I might recall pieces of it, but I recall more the making of it in that moment.
Right, and being on set, like when you reflect back, happy memories, is anything come to mind, like one memory in particular?
Super happy. I mean, that was, in a lot of ways, that was like family. It had to be. We were so young and we were going to work and seeing the same people every day. It was lovely. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That sounds awesome. Do you still talk to anyone from the Sweet Life cast?
I called Phill Lewis on the way over here.
Oh, no way.
He wants to take up golfing, and I've been golfing recently. And he says he's terrible at it. And I'm like, I bet.
So they very much stayed in your family. Like, it's a family relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Wizards just got a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts / will Sweet Life potentially follow in the footsteps?
I don't know ever how to answer this. I think that there's like something very special and nostalgic about older TV and film that like kind of shouldn't be touched as like a snapshot of a time, right? And I think that's why a lot of people love that stuff. And I think you run the risk of like besmirching the reputation of what you previously made by remaking something.
Right.
Which I think is very uncool. So I don't necessarily want to say yes to that. I don't want to say no to that because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, like, isn't it kind of nice that it's where it was?
Yeah, I totally understand that. It keeps the integrity of the show where it was at that time. Your Sweet Life co-star, Kim Rhodes, recently went viral. She said that you stood up for her on set back in Sweet Life.
I heard of that.
What was your reaction to that going viral?
I'm just always surprised anything goes viral because I just don't know how that works, and I'm really not on social media much. But yeah, no, that sounds right. That sounds right. There were a few moments like that I remember, but no, I love Kim Rhodes, and it's funny because like a lot of those moments again when I was young, so like I don't remember exactly the details of it, but she does very clearly, and so it was nice to hear.
Right. So is that something that you, like you said, that would happen sometimes if there was something written into the show, if you didn't quite agree, you would speak up and say your opinion? I
mean, Cole and I are maniacs, you know, like we're vocal as hell. We talk a lot. It is our profession. So I am unsurprised to hear that I would speak up if something like that bothered me. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's been years since you and Cole were reunited on screen. You guys are both doing separate things, really cool. Mm-hmm. Is there ever going to be something that you guys work on together? Do you want to?
Yeah, I don't think it's like a matter of like wanting to, because we'd certainly love to, but it also has to be good, right? Like and I got to be real, like if we're not making it ourselves, which is definitely a possibility, then like how many roles are out there for like twins that are actually good? You know what I mean? And a lot of the times you'll see like a twin role and it'll be like one actor's big experience with playing two characters and they're the same person. I'm like, okay, well that's also off the market. Right. So I don't know. I mean, it has to make sense and be cool and be good.
Maybe you guys are the ones that need to make the story.
I feel like that's probably the most viable option. Yeah. So maybe.
Well, I know fans would love to see it, including myself. Shifting gears, congrats on married life.
Thank you very much.
How is it being a newlywed?
It is the same as it was before getting married. We were acting married from the moment that we met, I realized, but it is lovely, of course. And it's been really nice. It's actually really cool to say my wife, not in the Borat voice, also in the Borat voice. It's cool to say my wife, but that's a cool thing to say. I feel really powerful saying it.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah.
She's yours.
Yes. And I'm hers.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.